Ladies and gentlemen, welcome for our fourth launch of the year from the Guyana Space Center, the second with Ariane 5 in 2015. Tonight, Ariane 5 is set to deliver into an optimized geostationary transfer orbit, DirecTV15 for DirecTV in the United States, and Sky Mexico 1 for Sky Mexico in the frame of a contract also signed with DirecTV. Ariane 5 will be required a performance slightly below 10 tons. It will have a window of 1 hour and 24 minutes to lift off, opening precisely at 9:16 p.m. Universal Time. The mission will last less than 38 minutes. I would like to thank DirecTV for entrusting Arianespace with the launch of this new satellite, following that of DirecTV14 on December the 6th last year. Once on location, DirecTV15, manufactured by Airbus Defence and Space, will strengthen DirecTV capacity regarding high definition and even 4K UH definition television broadcast services above the continental United States, Alaska, Hawaii and Puerto Rico. I am also grateful to Sky Mexico for having selected Arianespace to launch the first satellite of its own through its partner and shareholder DirecTV. Sky Mexico decided to rely on Ariane 5 demonstrated reliability and availability to start its operation at 78.8 degrees west, where Sky Mexico 1, manufactured by Orbital ATK, will provide high-definition television broadcast services above Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. Tonight, Arianespace is proud to deliver to its North and Latin American customers a launch service dedicated to direct-to-home television, one major application among all those enabled by satellite technology for the great benefit of mankind. Last but not least, this launch is the occasion for Arianespace and the city of Kourou to celebrate their partnership in the framework of Kourou's presidency of the Community of Ariane Cities for 2015. With the logo of the city on Ariane's fairing, the long-standing relationship between Arianespace and Kourou is perfectly honored. But our 79th Ariane 5 is now being readied for liftoff, so enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. I'm Harry Thibodeau, and I welcome our global audience to Kourou, French Guiana for tonight's launch. The 79th Ariane 5 is on the pad. It's early evening here at the edge of the Amazon rainforest. We're 300 miles north of the equator. It's been raining a lot, but today it's been sunshine. Here, some clouds in the area now. And there is the star of tonight's show. The Ariane 5 ECA, she stands 180 feet tall, tips the scales at 775 tons. Tonight, we're going to be using a 17-meter fairing. Its job will be to protect the satellites on the ground, and during the early stages of the flight, under that fairing will reside our two payloads for this evening. DirecTV15 rides in the top position, the bigger of the two. Mass of 6,200 kilograms. That's a little over 13,000 pounds. Sky Mexico 1 is in the lower position under the Silda, and it weighs in at 3,000 kilograms, 6,600 pounds. More on them coming up later. Launch window tonight, relatively long, opens at 6:16 local time and closes an hour and 24 minutes later. Here you see the leadership team of Arianespace, and they are here to make the final decisions on tonight's launch as we go across to the board of the the key decision makers. One of the people you're going to see there is Eduardo Perez. There he is. He's the technical mastermind of the Ariane family of launchers and the chief technical officer. And you see others there. They are in the fishbowl at the Jupiter Control Center, a few miles from the launch pad. And as we close in on the 9.5-minute mark, all is green. Time now to hear about our two passengers tonight, DirecTV15 and Sky Mexico 1.
VA223 Ariane 5 ECA flight unboxed two spacecraft, DirecTV15 and Sky Mexico 1.
The winning partnership between Ariane Space and DirecTV has started 21 years ago with the launch of DirecTV1. Since then and throughout all these years, DirecTV has trusted Ariane Space for the launch of its satellites, and we are very happy to be part of DirecTV's success story.
The Sky Mexico 1 spacecraft, based on the well-known orbital ATK platform, Geostar 2 4.2e, has been mated on the lower position on top of Ariane 5 under the seal dash structure, which supports the upper spacecraft.
DirecTV15 was manufactured by Airbus using a Eurostar 3000 platform and will be the most powerful broadcast satellite ever built by Airbus. I would like to thank Airbus for the great job that we have carried out together throughout this program, and of course DirecTV for the continued confidence they put in Ariane Space and in its fleet of launchers.
Thanks to the proactive and efficient common work, Sky Mexico 1 and Orbital ATK were able to accelerate the spacecraft readiness and to enable a launch less than 21 months after the launch service agreement has been signed. We wish the best to Sky Mexico 1 spacecraft and team.
Closing in on 7.5 minutes till launch. All is green on the board here at Jupiter for the second Ariane 5 launch of 2015. Ariane 5, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the commercial launch industry. Tonight we will witness the 65th successful Ariane 5 launch in a row. DirecTV15 and Sky Mexico 1 will be the 107th and 108th satellites to be launched successfully since December 2002. And here comes the 7-minute mark. Announcement from the DDO.
Top, H0-7 minutes.
And we are closing in now on that critical milestone, the 7-minute mark that we just passed. We've entered the synchronized sequence stage. Things happen really fast now here at Kourou. Computers are assuming more and more control over the flight, making final checks and settings for the launch. And again, everything continues to be green as we go into the synchronized sequence. And we will now take a look at the launch campaign that got us to this moment. Most elements of the Ariane 5 launcher are shipped from Europe by boat directly to the Kourou harbor. They are then transported to the spaceport for assembly in the bill, where the main core is erected upright. The two boosters are then made in Guyana. They're transferred there, placed on either side of the main core. The upper stage is then added, and next the launch vehicle is transferred to the bath. Both satellites were flown in. DirecTV15 arrived March 15th, Sky Mexico 1 on April 17th, and they were ready for their preparation campaign in parallel to the launch vehicle assembly in dedicated payload facilities close to the launch pad. Preparations include weighing and system verifications by the teams in clean rooms. After testing, they were then filled with propellant they need for orbit. Throughout the campaign, customers and Ariane Space teams hold daily meetings to monitor progress. Typical campaign lasts 6 weeks, covering both launch vehicle and payloads. Once filled, the satellites are transferred to the bath for integration on top of the launch vehicle. Sky Mexico is in the lower position, while DirecTV15 is placed in the upper position in the fairing. At D-1, the launcher, now on the launch table, is transferred to the launch pad and ready for the final countdown and tonight's launch. Excitement building at 4 minutes and 30 seconds before launch. Everything is green, and we are getting ready to go from Kourou. Total payload tonight, just under 10 metric tons, 9,960 kilograms to be exact. 9,200 of that made up by our two satellites, DirecTV15 and Sky Mexico 1. The rest, support structures, including the Silda, which covers Sky Mexico 1 and serves as the base for DirecTV 15. And of course, you saw those green screens. Everything is green, and in Kourou, like a lot of the rest of the world, green means go, and we're very excited to be this close to launch in all green. We're looking now at the highly skilled engineers who work at a building called CDL3. It's located very close to the launch pad, about 3 kilometers away. I've been there a couple of times. It's built like a bunker with walls and roof several feet thick. In the event of an emergency, the buildings can be sealed off to the outside world. 4 groups work there: the launch operations team, the Ariane production or program production team, and the quality management team, along with the security management team. All of them are employed by Ariane Space, and they are monitoring all of the technical aspects of the launcher and the payload as we close in on the magic moment for this evening's mission. And as we look at the green screen, we know that everything is set for launch, and very shortly we are going to be seeing that 775-ton rocket, the 79th Ariane 5, roar to life. It will turn what is rapidly turning into night here on the edge of the Amazon jungle into daylight, and send DirecTV and Sky Mexico 1 into space. The final series of computer checks being done now to configure the booster for flight. Years of hard work by thousands from DirecTV, Sky Mexico, Airbus Defense and Space, and Orbital ATK about to culminate with the launch. Here's a great picture of the Ariane 5. You see those 2 yellow arms? They're called the bra here in Kourou. They're not actually holding the rocket up. That's done by gravity. Those arms support the fueling hoses that keep the rocket's fuel tank topped off. It's necessary because the ultra-cold liquid boils off in the heat of the Amazon rainforest. The arms pull back moments before launch. Closing in now on the last 90 seconds in the countdown. The VIPs here at Jupiter heading out to the balcony to witness the launch. They'll have a great view as the Ariane 5 thunders out over Devil's Island, made famous by the movie Papillon. The next announcement, the DDO with the 1 minute mark.
Attention pour moins 1 minute.
And that announcement coming in 2 seconds.
Top H0 moins 1 minute.
We welcome everybody around the world viewing this live webcast on arianespace.com. Special greetings to those watching at DirecTV in Los Angeles, Sky Mexico in Mexico City, Orbital in Washington, D.C., Airbus Defense and Space, along with all the other industry partners across Europe. And my friends, we are down to it. If you have never seen one of these before, you are going to have the joy of your life. Only seconds left before the famous countdown in French from Kourou and the launch of the 79th Ariane 5. Hold on to your hats. This is going to be a good one.
À tous des DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Allumage moteur Vulcain. Allumage EAB. Décollage. Tous les paramètres à bord sont nominaux. Fin de la manœuvre en roulis, la trajectoire est nominale.
There's a new rumble in the Amazon jungle, and that's the mighty Amazon Ariane 5, rather, the ECA, as she roars out toward Devil's Island. I get so excited because it's my 8th time here. It still takes my breath away every time I see it. A minute into the flight, Ariane 5 has already broken the sound barrier here in Kourou. And just there we can feel it. The massive Jupiter facility literally shaking us. 1,300 tons of thrust break the Ariane 5 free from the bonds of gravity. I'll tell you, I get thrilled every time this happens. 90% of the power coming from the two boosters, 100 feet tall, burning 240 tons of solid propellant in less than 2 minutes, better than 2 tons a second. When the boosters have done their job, and that'll be in less than a minute from right now, Ariane will be 45 miles in the sky, racing away at over a mile a second, faster than a bullet. Information coming down to Galiot, the tracking station on the big hill behind us here at Jupiter. And we can see from the screen that everything is going well. The next major event is the burnout and jettison of those two solid rocket boosters. That is scheduled to occur at 2 minutes and 20 seconds into flight. So about 5 seconds from right now, despite the clouds, we might actually be able to see it when those separate. Let's watch the screen. And there's the call from the DDO that the boosters have done their job. We don't need them anymore. Talk about losing weight. The Ariane 5 was 775 tons on the pad, down now to 180 tons. In the rocket business, when you get lighter, you go faster. And Ariane 5 is moving out right now, a little over 2 kilometers per second, 90 kilometers up into the sky. Our target speed tonight is 9.3 kilometers per second. Next up on the list of major events will be the jettison of the fairing. It's protected the satellites on the ground and in the early phases of flight. After liftoff, we don't need it anymore. And very shortly, it is going to be separated. We're over 100 kilometers up in space, so we don't need that 2-ton fairing. And there you see on the animation, the fairing has gone away. The DDO has confirmed it. Take a look at these pictures from an earlier mission, and you'll see what it looks like as the fairing heads back toward Earth. And right now, the main cryogenic stage, or the EPC, is doing the heavy lifting, and it is the Vulcan engine that's gulping 320 kilograms worth of fuel a second, 500 times more than a jet engine. You may recall that we saw a special logo on the fairing of the Ariane 5, recognizing the city of Kourou. Kourou currently holds the presidency in the Community of Ariane Cities, a nonprofit association founded in 1998 to strengthen cooperation among cities and industrial organizations involved in the European Space Transportation Program, as well as to inform citizens about the benefit of Europe's space transportation program. And it's time now to hear more about our host city, Kourou.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
The city of Kourou is extremely proud to be associated with Flight VA223 as part of the community of Ariane cities. This moment is an important landmark in this year of celebrations running across the whole of Guyana, not just Kourou. It is also an opportunity to reaffirm the strong links that exist between the space industry, Kourou, and Guyana, which now go back around 60 years of key research efforts and major scientific breakthroughs. The technological advances achieved by CNES, ESA, Ariane Espace, and all other stakeholders in the CHE spaceport have very real effects in our population's daily lives. Our presidency this year is again an opportunity to promote our city, not only in Guyana itself, but on the European level. We have always proven our worth as a land of champions, a city turned towards the future. As evidenced in the footage of Kourou, our young people are a key priority and will continue to be throughout our presidency of the community of Ariane cities. The space industry is also a powerful partnership, full of opportunities for our department. 16% of our GDP is a significant amount. I will therefore continue to focus on our partnership within the CVA community and as Mayor of Kourou. Best wishes for the launch.
7 minutes, 33 seconds into the mission. The Ariane 5 has been picked up by our tracking station in Natal, Brazil. Tonight we're using 6 tracking stations. Galiot, which here in Kourou, Natal in Brazil, Ascension Island out in the middle of the Atlantic, Libreville, Gabon, and Malindi, Kenya. We're also adding a 6th, Perth in Australia, which will be used this evening. Ariane sends data to those ground stations, tells us how the flight is progressing in real time. And later, engineers will pore over every bit of the data to determine exactly how the vehicle performed. Look at those pictures, talk about performance as the Ariane 5 roars off the ground. And again, that was just a few moments ago. What an incredible sight to see that happen. Let's take a look again. It got me all confused because I was so excited as that Ariane 5 left the pad, the 79th Ariane 5 this evening. And our next major event, the cutoff of the main stage or the EPC, and that's going to happen right now. You see it on the animation. The DDO will make an announcement, and the separation and the upper stage ignites as the ESC takes over. The main stage has completed its job. It drops away, falls into the ocean off Africa. The upper stage will burn for nearly 16 minutes. There's a view of how that happens in one of the previous missions. We're now going very, very fast. We're closing in on 7 kilometers a second. Ariane 5 is well on its way to Africa. It's gaining speed by the second. We just see the animation again of where the Ariane 5 is on its path. Here's some of the key personnel and VIPs in the Jupiter Auditorium, located directly below our broadcast location. Most of them arrived yesterday. They've been touring the space base and the local area. Now they have the best seat in the house to watch the launch. History is being made tonight by DirecTV15, as it is one of the most powerful telecom satellites ever launched. 28K U-band transponders, 25K8 transponders, reverse band transponders are also being utilized tonight. The reverse band spectrum, critical for delivering bandwidth-intensive services such as 4K TV. I had the honor of announcing the DirecTV14 launch in December. That was the first one to use it. Let's take a look now at more of the great video from DirecTV.
La propulsion est nominale, tous les paramètres à bord sont normaux.
DirecTV15 is a huge and most powerful satellite. As you can see it behind me, it's the biggest satellite built by Airbus Defence and Space so far. It embarks a record number of onboard transponders. It serves direct television, as its name says, for all of North America. And of course it's based, we are using our Eurostar E3000 platform to embark this huge and powerful payload, which is the most reliable and high quality platform in the world today.
So DirecTV15 satellite is a very large, complex satellite. We introduced a lot of new technologies, and Airbus was able to deliver 2 months ahead of schedule, which is unheard of in this industry. We're thrilled with the performance of Airbus, and I think that Airbus has just a spectacular culture, but they have employees that have worked here a long time. They love what they do. They're absolute experts in their fields, and it shows in the work and in the reliability. We have a very bright future ahead with DirecTV and Airbus partnership.
Closing in on the 14-minute mark, and during the film, Ariane 5 was acquired by our tracking station on Ascension Island in the Atlantic. As you just heard, DirecTV15 and its sister satellite DirecTV14, Ariane Space launched in December of last year, are very special satellites. The planning for this type of satellite's been underway for more than 20 years. In fact, the World Administrative Radio Conference in 1992 designated the spectrum for direct-to-home service, assuring that DBS operators would have the spectrum they needed for the future. 23 years later, the future has arrived, and DirecTV15 will now use those frequencies to deliver the highest quality video, 4K TV, to consumers, ensuring that technological leadership that DirecTV has enjoyed for several decades. And let's hear more about the DirecTV satellite.
At DirecTV, we believe families should have somewhere to turn when disaster strikes. We believe our customers should have a real person to talk to 24 hours a day. That you should never miss your shows, even if it means overnighting a replacement receiver. And that if we're lucky enough to be invited into your home, we should leave it better than we found it. At DirecTV, we believe giving a smile to a sick child is the least we can do. We believe logging tens of thousands of hours building homes and playgrounds defines our true spirit. That providing job opportunities for disabled Americans is the best way to celebrate diversity. And that being named one of the top 50 most community-minded companies in the U.S. means we're doing something right. At DirecTV, we believe children should have the most advanced learning tools for free. We believe our loyal customers deserve over $1 billion in equipment upgrades. That creating a plan for you to get our latest technology every 2 years is just the beginning. and that providing service from Alaska to Antarctica proves we truly understand global technology. We believe being ranked #1 in customer satisfaction is cause for celebration. We believe being named one of the greenest companies in the world highlights our enduring commitment to the environment. That winning 7 Emmy Awards in technical achievement showcases our innovative spirit. Each day we redefine what DirecTV can be, because we believe there's no place for ordinary when you entertain the extraordinary. Don't just watch TV. DirecTV.
DirecTV, one awesome company, and I've been a subscriber for a long time. On the screen, you will be seeing not only the animation of where we are in space, 158 kilometers up, moving almost 9 kilometers per second now, everything going right down the middle of our chart. That's great. You'll also see key personnel from Sky Mexico, their satellite rides in the lower position this evening. And it is a 3-ton satellite built by Orbital ATK. It carries 24 Ku-band transponders and 2 reverse band transponders, 15-year lifespan, and it is the 25th satellite from Orbital ATK that Ariane Space has launched. It will serve Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean. And it's time now to hear a little more about Sky Mexico 1.
Well, the SkyM satellite system started over 5 years ago, about 6 years ago. We started with filing for new orbital slots and new spectrum to support the growth of the business. And then we worked with our partners in Sky Mexico, Salvador Rosas and his team, and came up with a design for the new satellite. We then went ahead and executed an RFP for the satellites, and Orbital Sciences won, and they've executed brilliantly on the delivery of this satellite. They bid a 24-month schedule and delivered 4 months ahead of schedule, which is just extraordinary.
DirecTV came to us with a particular coverage area that they wanted to reach, that area being of the Mexico and Caribbean area. So what we did in this case was we determined that the Star 2 geoplatform was the right fit for their coverage region. So we were able to take their requirements and meet those with an exceptional amount of margin, but with a spacecraft that met their cost and schedule constraints.
So DirecTV represents the leading entertainment and television service provider in the world. They have 38 million subscribers to their service. So for Orbital ATK to have the opportunity to work with such a renowned operator and supplier, it means everything.
I think it was a terrific job to deliver on time, much better than on time. That makes us be much earlier in the market, and that's always great for the business.
Well, that's what we want. We want a customer to be happy. We want a customer to achieve their goals. By achieving their goals, we achieve our goals.
20 minutes now have passed since the Ariane 5 left the pad. All is well. Ariane 5 now being tracked by Libreville, a station on the west coast of Africa. We're going right down the middle of our graph and chart, and everything is perfect this evening. Amazing to think in 20 minutes we can cross the Atlantic Ocean. The upper stage of the Ariane 5 is got about 5 minutes worth of work left to do. We're already 247 kilometers into the sky. Magic number tonight, 9.3 kilometers per second. We're at 8.7 right now. Sky Mexico, again, is the smaller of the 2 satellites this evening, but it still weighs in 6,600 pounds. That is about the size of 3 average cars in the United States. So you can imagine that it is no small bird. It is one that has been worked on for many years and will bring great new technology to the Mexican and Caribbean region along with Central America. Let's take a moment now to hear more details about Sky Mexico 1 on its way to orbit. Back at Jupiter, we're 23 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight of the 79th Ariane 5. Still a couple of minutes left on the upper stage burn. Ariane 5 has been acquired by our tracking station in Malindi on the east coast of Africa. It's our 5th tracking station that we use tonight. Take a look at our speed. We're at 9.2 kilometers per second. Remember, I said our target tonight was 9.3 kilometers per second. Altitude is 690 kilometers. When we reach that, the Ariane 5 powered flight or boost phase will be over. And there's my good friend Clay Mowry, and we give him a shout out this evening, the head of the American operation of Ariane Space. The numbers, especially the speed, are virtually impossible to imagine, but consider this. The fastest man on Earth is Usain Bolt. He goes about 10 meters per second. And a Ferrari, 100 meters per second. And there, what we see on the screen is the animation of the composite. And the DDO will be calling out the separation of the DirecTV15 satellite. Just a moment. We watch for that. All of the work. I take that back. It's going to be the end of the ESC, the upper stage propulsion, rather, portion of the mission. Events are going to begin happening very rapidly now as we enter the ballistic phase. The engineers here call it the SCAR phase, but for us normal folks, let's refer to it as the space ballet. The powerful computers on board the Ariane 5 making the calculations to align the vehicle precisely for the next steps. So let's assess where we are right now. We're high enough. We're going fast enough. The boosters and the 2 stages of the Ariane 5 have given us all of the power that we need. They have done their job. The need for raw speed is over, raw power. Now it's all about pinpoint precision, and this is where the rocket science really kicks in. The upper stage has a brain. It's actually a very powerful computer. It's in the vehicle assembly bay or vehicle equipment bay. We call it the VEB. Even more than a computer, it's a whole flight management system. It can make decisions, and very quickly. It's very smart. And if there are different options, it always will choose the one that will maximize success of the mission. And the first step in that space ballet is to orient the launcher for the release of DirecTV15, done by several small rockets on the side of the launcher. The pointing has to be very exact, and we are closing in at about 20 seconds, 30 seconds away from the separation. Needless to say, years of hard work by everybody at DirecTV coming down to the next few seconds. A set of springs about to eject the DirecTV15 satellite at precisely the right moment. And we await confirmation of the separation from the DDO. Any moment now, you will see and hear that.
Séparation de DirecTV15.
And there it is. The call from the DDO, DirecTV15 is on its way. And DirecTV, the leading DBS provider in America, has taken a huge step toward changing TV again in America. And there are polite smiles all throughout the hall here in Nauru, but the tradition is to hold the applause until both satellites have been separated. Ariane 5 is now successfully delivered 107 satellites in a row. Number 108 only a couple of minutes away. The next act of the space ballet begins, and we need to turn the composite away from the direction we sent DirecTV15. Then we will prepare to jettison the Silda, the black structure you see there, and it looks like a small fairing. It's really the secret sauce to the Ariane 5. It makes dual satellite launches possible. It's protected Sky Mexico and provided a base upon which we mounted DirecTV 15. We want to be sure that we send it away from the direction of either of the other 2 satellites. The precision really cannot be understated here. Imagine what's happening. The composite with the Silda and Sky Mexico are half a world away right now. They're over the east coast of Africa, over 1,100 kilometers in space, racing away at 9 kilometers a second, 9 times the speed of a bullet. And it is being exactly positioned now for the jettisoning of the Silda, and that should occur just a couple of seconds from right now. We'll wait for that announcement.
Séparation Silda, système de lancement double Ariane.
And there it is. The Silda has separated. Sky Mexico 1 can see the sun for the first time. And yet another act of the space ballet is now underway high above the Indian Ocean. The onboard computers are calculating the exact course change necessary for dropping off Sky Mexico 1. Obviously, we don't want it to collide with either DirecTV15 or the Silda, and so more rocket science and orbital physics are coming into play right now. The space ballet continues as we prepare for that separation of Sky Mexico 1. That will happen at about 38 minutes into the flight. So we've got 7.5 minutes or so left to go. That'll be about 3,250 kilometers above the Indian Ocean at a speed of just over 7.5 kilometers a second. You recall I talked about the 5 telemetry, actually 6 stations that we're going to use tonight. Well, here's an inside look at what happens to the data that pours down from the Ariane 5. It arrives at the CVI. It's located at the Galileo tracking station on a mountain just south of the launch base. A 4-person team called the Immediate Visual Control Team monitors 150 critical parameters in real time out of more than 1,000 transmitted. The rest of that data stored on massive hard drives, and it will be analyzed in the next week or two. That'll allow engineers to know exactly how the system performed tonight. As we return to Jupiter, the orbital ballet is continuing. The upper stage and the Sky Mexico 1 satellite being configured for the correct attitude necessary to send it on its way. We still have a few minutes before the release of Sky Mexico 1. So I thought we would talk a little bit about the number of satellites that have been launched here from Kourou, and it really is amazing. There are a lot of milestones that have been achieved here at this launch base. This marks the 223rd flight of an Ariane rocket. DirecTV and Sky Mexico 1 are the 508th and 509th satellites to be launched by Ariane Space. And that's just amazing when you think of those numbers. Of that number, 161 of them have gone into space on top of an Ariane 5. Tonight, DirecTV15 marks the 111th satellite from Airbus Defence and Space to be launched by Ariane Space. And currently there are another 12 Airbus satellites that are booked for launch with Ariane. 80 of the satellites have been launched into geostationary transfer orbit, GTO, just for American operators. So 80 just for U.S. operators. 50 of them have gone up for Intelsat, the #1 operator that has entrusted their satellites with Intelsat, or with Ariane Space. 15 for SES, 6 for DirecTV, 4 for EchoStar Dish Network, 2 for World Space, 1 each for Viasat, XStar, and Light Squared. In addition, Ariane Space has launched 69 non-geo satellites for U.S. customers, 56 of them for Globalstar, 12 for O3b, and 1 for NASA. There's 11 satellites, GTO satellites, currently booked for launch by Ariane Space for U.S. customers, and 4 non-GTO satellites. 34-20 into the mission. Everything continues to go well as the space ballet continues. Talking about other things coming up for Ariane Space, they will also make history when they launch the much anticipated James Webb Space Telescope, the successor to the Hubble. It's a machine that literally is destined to open a new window of understanding on the universe. Ariane Space also has a long history of working with U.S. satellite manufacturers. As of May 6th, 167 U.S.-made satellites have ridden into orbit on an Ariane rocket. 47 of them came out of the factory for Space Systems L'Oreal, SSL, or its predecessors. 25 from our friends at Orbital ATK, formerly Orbital Sciences Corp, and of course, the one you're looking at right there on the screen, Sky Mexico 1, was built by Orbital ATK, and we are just a couple of minutes away from delivering that satellite into its intended orbit for transfer into geostationary orbit later. Have come from Lockheed Martin, 50 by Boeing or its predecessors, and there are 20 more American-made satellites that are booked for
Dernière
future
phase d'orientation au
Ariane
profit de
space
Sky
launches.
Mexico 1.
And again, you see that very delicate space ballet that continues to take place. And the amazing thing, as I mentioned earlier, look at the numbers on the bottom of the screen. All of this is taking place literally over half a world away. In a matter of 36 and a half minutes, we have traveled over 13,000 kilometers from here at the Kourou Space Base, and we are approaching 3,000 kilometers into
La phase
the
balistique se
sky
poursuit
at
nominalement.
7.72 kilometers per second. And that is high over the Indian Ocean right now. And according to my watch, we're about a minute away from the separation of Sky Mexico 1. It will be the 108th consecutive successful satellite separation from an Ariane 5 that goes all the way back with its successful track record to September of 2002. And you think about that, again, that's somewhat 13 years of nonstop successful launches with the mighty Ariane 5. We used the ECA version tonight in the launch. Again, just moments away now. All the hard work set to pay off for our friends at Sky Mexico 1. The DDO will make the call and you'll see it on the animation.
Séparation de Sky Mexico 1.
And there it is. This place erupts in cheers and clapping as all of that work, millions of man-hours between everybody involved here has come to an end. Handshakes all the way around. There will later be some cigars, I'm sure, and there's a party, as always, that will take place here in Kourou. But another successful mission for the Ariane 5, 79th Ariane 5, 65 successes in a row, and 107 and 108 satellites.
Par la station des Pertes en Australie.
There's the big thumbs up that you saw from Clay Mowry down there. Everybody enjoying it.